tonight at NXT TakeOver 31, the NXT North American Championship is on the line as Damian Priest defends the NXT North American Championship against Johnny Gargano. Now, of course, Johnny Gargano is arguably the most decorated superstar in NXT history, especially the most decorated superstar currently competing on the NXT brand. Now, Damian Priest won the NXT North American Championship at the last NXT TakeOver, NXT TakeOver 30, and I think he's done an okay job so far as NXT North American Champion. Nothing too spectacular by any means or anything like that, but I think he's done okay. I wasn't massively keen on the whole partying gimmick because Damian Priest now has been turned into a babyface. Prior to becoming the NXT North American Champion, he had been turned into a babyface, and that's his role now. He's a babyface champion. But I just felt like, how does this guy come across as a babyface if he's busy partying all the time and brushes off the importance of title defenses? So I think they've pulled back on that a little bit over the last couple of weeks, which I'm glad about because I feel like the whole partying gimmick just comes across as very heelish, like he doesn't really care about the championship, and that always rubs me the wrong way. So I think that they've done a good job with that. Johnny Gargano has been an interesting one, and I'll touch on this when I do the Candice LeRae Io Shirai match preview as well. But Johnny Gargano has been an interesting one because, of course, he turned heel earlier this year during his match, during his resumption of his feud against his former best friend, Tommaso Ciampa. And since then, we've seen heel Johnny Gargano on NXT with his wife Candice LeRae doing things the Gargano way, and they want to bring gold to the Gargano household. I do find it very, very difficult to boo Johnny Gargano. I understand why NXT turned him heel, because I do think that after a while, regardless of how beloved you are in your role, you do have to evolve. If you've listened to the channel before, or if you've watched any of my videos before, I'm a big advocate of having to change, having to evolve. I think it's a necessity in professional wrestling. You look at any characters that have been successful in WWE or even outside of WWE, just in professional wrestling history, they've always evolved. They've always tried to do something different and successfully done stuff different, and that's always benefited them. That's why they've succeeded. You look at people like The Undertaker, you look at people like Sting, Chris Jericho. They've all evolved over time. They've all done different characters, different gimmicks, because you need to stay fresh and you need to stay relevant. So despite the wildly popular Johnny Gargano babyface that he was literally the heart and soul of NXT. They used to say that all the time, didn't they? Johnny Gargano is the heart and soul of NXT, but he really was. He really was the heart and soul of NXT, and he was the underdog babyface. He was the perfect underdog babyface. But if he's going to stay with NXT, then he needs to evolve, and it doesn't look like, to me anyway, that Johnny Gargano is going anywhere anytime soon. They kind of teased him going to Raw or SmackDown prior to WrestleMania 35 when they had the likes of him and Tommaso Ciampa show up on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. That was at the same time that Ricochet and Aleister Black showed up, but then of course Tommaso Ciampa got injured during that time. He has openly said, I ain't going to Raw or SmackDown. If you try and make me go to Raw or SmackDown, I'll retire. And if recent NXT call-ups have anything to go by, then I don't blame him. But it looks like Johnny Gargano is the same. Johnny Gargano last year, was in 2019, wasn't it, after he had those series of matches against Adam Cole? People thought he was going to get called up to the main roster then, and that didn't happen. He appeared on an episode of NXT, said, I'm staying, I'm not going anywhere. A bit like the Wolf of Wall Street meme, he isn't going anywhere. And to be honest now, I don't want to say that ship has passed, because I don't think it has. But I just can't see him on Raw or SmackDown now. It doesn't make any sense. I feel like the time has slightly passed. If I'm being brutally honest, maybe the time has passed that Johnny Gargano isn't going to go on Raw or SmackDown, especially anytime soon. So while I wasn't massively keen on the Gargano heel turn, because I find it difficult to boo Johnny Gargano, I understand it. I think why I wasn't massively keen on the Gargano heel turn is because just the character didn't feel authentic for quite a while, and I felt like Johnny Gargano, whilst he was going through this character metamorphosis, he was finding it himself, and it came across like that. It felt like he was playing the heel as opposed to being the heel, if that makes sense. I know that sounds very pro wrestling speak, that just executives in pro wrestling say, and you kind of come out of it going, I have no idea what you just said. But that's what it kind of felt like for me when I was watching those initial Johnny Gargano heel heel segments. It just never felt like it was properly there. I enjoyed his run against Keith Lee. I thought he did fine in that. I thought that was a difficult feud to do because Keith Lee was so much larger than Johnny Gargano. It was difficult to have a truly believable match, but I think he did well during that. I obviously thought he did a good job in that NXT North American Championship ladder match last time at NXT TakeOver 30. I thought that was a fantastic ladder match in general, and I do think it was the right winner at the time. I wanted Damian Priest to win because I think he's the kind of guy right now in NXT that needs the North American Championship. I don't think Damian Priest is going to become the NXT champion anytime soon. I don't think he's ready for that. Maybe eventually he'll get there. I think the way you have to look at it is maybe a Keith Lee scenario, in that if he holds the NXT North American Championship, does well, continues to get over more and more, then it becomes inevitable that you do become NXT champion. And I do think Damian Priest has that potential, but I just don't see that being right now. But I do think that he does have potential to be a future NXT champion. What I will say about Damian Priest in general, and I've said this a million times about him, is that I think he's going to be one of those select people that I truly think Damian Priest is going to be more successful on the main roster than he is or currently will be in NXT. And I really do think that. And there's multiple reasons as to why. I think Damian Priest is going to have a very successful NXT run. He's already the North American champion. I think it would be naive to rule out an NXT championship run some way down the line. But I think he'll be more successful on the main roster because you look at him, that's the guy that Vince McMahon likes. He's not 7 foot tall, but he is tall. I want to say 6'6", 6'7", maybe like that. He's a tall guy. He's a good-looking guy. Can cut a promo. He's got a great look. Vince McMahon, regardless of if it's in the year 2020, it's still in his mind. It's still 1985. He still likes big men. That's just how it works. He sees people that with the look of a Damian Priest, and he has money. He has dollar signs in his eyes. And Damian Priest is money. You take one look at him, he is money. I think his promos do need work. Support for WrestleNews 365 is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Now, Manscaped, for all of my UK fans out there, Manscaped just launched in the UK. Over here in the United Kingdom, we have gone for years and years and years without using the right tools for the job. But now you can be one of the first men in England to experience their life-changing product. But it's not just limited to all of the great fans over here in the UK. This offer goes worldwide, so all of my friends over in America and around the world that are listening to this offer still does apply for you. You can still use our code. But I've got to tell you a quick story first. Now, there have been so many times, right? I'm a guy. You gotta groom down there, fellas, right? That's the most important thing. You gotta keep yourself trimmed. You gotta keep yourself proper. And a lot of the time, I've been guilty of this, of using the wrong tools for the job. I've had incidences, I'm not afraid to say it, where things have been nicked, snagged, or in fact cut down there because I wasn't being careful enough and using the right equipment. Now that just shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. You don't want to be worrying about cutting yourself down there. Do you know how painful that is? I can tell you, it hurts quite a lot. And I wish and hope to God it never happens to me again, and it won't happen to me ever again because I'm using Manscaped products. That's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineering team has perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created. Big statement, but it's absolutely true. They have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. It's also available around the world as well. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. So those cuts and snags that I was telling you about before are a thing of the past. And let me tell you, when I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes so you can get a longer, perfect shave. And not only that, you don't want to be cutting yourself and trimming yourself all over the bathroom, getting hair all over the place. That's just disgusting. The lawnmower has a waterproof technology that allows you to groom in the shower, so no more mess. And one of the coolest features, one of my favorite features about the lawnmower is the LED light which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trimming experience. So you can shave longer, you can shave more precisely, and you can shave in the shower. What more did I need to tell you? They've also upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology, and let's not forget about the charging stand. You can show off your mower loud and proud because this intelligently designed stand is a convenient charging dock powered by USB. So, if you are listening to me speak right now, I want you to experience it firsthand for yourself. Let's get that bush to tush clean, and you can get 20% off and free shipping. Yeah, you heard me right there. 20% off and free shipping. All you have to do is use the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. Make your testes their besties. That's 20% off and free shipping. Not only are you getting 20% off, you're getting free shipping as well with the code 365wrestle at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code 365wrestle. Your balls will thank you. And that's why I don't think he's ready to be an NXT champion yet. That's why I think the North American Championship is perfect for him. I do think he is improving on the promo, but I still do think there's a way to go when it comes to his promo ability. But I think his look's fantastic. I think the Archer of Infamy gimmick is fantastic. He's got a killer entrance, absolutely brilliant entrance. Let's just hope it's not made by CFOs, because anything made by CFOs right now is being cut by WWE, which is a shame, considering the fantastic entrance themes that they made. But by all accounts, the royalties deal they signed with WWE isn't to WWE's satisfaction. They get like 50% of the royalties, and any recent news will show you, if we're going to go off on a bit of a tangent here about the Twitch and Cameo channels, if you're taking money out of WWE's pocket, or there's money that WWE thinks you shouldn't be making, they hate it. They hate it. So that's why those CFO themes are going. So hopefully CFOs wasn't the one that made his theme, but we'll have to wait and see with that. But I do think Damian Priest can be an NXT champion in the future. But ultimately, I think he will make his most money on the main roster. I think he'll have greater success on the main roster. I don't think he's going to be a scenario whereby he gets on the main roster and he's completely mismanaged or misused. I think Vince McMahon, if he hasn't already, will see Damian Priest completely fall in love with this guy and say, that's the guy. I love this guy's look. I love this guy's entrance. He is money. And I think he'll have greater success on the main roster. I really do. I think he's the type of guy that Vince McMahon will be obsessed with. It was a similar situation with Keith Lee. Keith Lee, when he was on Team NXT last year at Survivor Series, and he had that moment where he defeated Seth Rollins and then had that back and forth with Roman Reigns, hit the Spirit Bomb, nearly beat him. Reigns gets the victory. Keith Lee sours his ass off. He gets the Allstate Arena in Chicago absolutely buzzing. Probably the highlight of the night, really, when you look at that amazing Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT Survivor Series pay-per-view. Most people coming out of that were talking about Keith Lee and the breakout performance by Keith Lee and that interaction with Roman Reigns. That was the night that suddenly these reports came out. Vince McMahon loves Keith Lee. Vince McMahon has fallen in love with Keith Lee. And it surprised me, and I think it surprised a lot of people, it took this long to get Keith Lee on the main roster. But by all accounts, Vince McMahon's wanted Keith Lee on the main roster for a long, long, long time. That's why he had those interactions in the Royal Rumble against Brock Lesnar. That was to make Keith Lee be a big star. And I think what shows you of Vince McMahon's opinion on Keith Lee at the moment is that he's come up to the main roster, and so much of him, unfortunately, has changed, whether it's his look or his music or anything like that. That, to me, says Vince McMahon is all in on Keith Lee. He wants to micromanage him because he's obsessed with him. And even though some of those changes I've been heavily critical of, I don't see why you have to change Keith Lee's attire. I understand the process of his music, even though it's a great theme song, so they shouldn't have had to change it in the first place. But it means Vince McMahon's interested. And if Vince McMahon's interested and he's all in, pardon the AEW pun there, but he could make money, and I think that will be the same with Damian Priest. My long tangent there is that I think it will be the same with Damian Priest. So I'm looking forward to this one tonight. Johnny Gargano, obviously, most of the time works with bigger guys. Damian Priest, I think, does better against smaller guys anyway. I think arguably Damian Priest's best NXT match was at NXT TakeOver in Your House earlier this year against Finn Balor. I thought that was an absolutely fantastic match, and I think a lot of people actually slept on that match a bit. I don't think people thought that was going to be as good as it was. And then coming out of the show, people were like, man, that Damian Priest-Finn Balor match was killer. Arguably Finn Balor's best match at that point since he's returned to NXT. I don't think anyone could argue that. I think I would put that up against any match Finn Balor's had since he returned to NXT prior to then, and even now. So I think it was that match he had against Finn Balor not only elevated Finn Balor and people went, okay, Finn Balor's back in NXT, I think also elevated Damian Priest, because in the NXT TakeOver post-show media calls and those interviews with Triple H after the show, people asked him, look, that performance by Damian Priest tonight was something else, and Triple H went out of his way when asked about who did the performance of the night, anything like that. He went out of his way to say Damian Priest arrived. And even though Damian Priest lost tonight, I think he will win in the long term. And then wouldn't you know it, at the very next TakeOver, he's the NXT North American Champion. So that goes a long way to show you how highly rated his performance was at NXT TakeOver in your house. I think they previously felt about Damian Priest is that he had a great look. He was good in the ring, lacking a bit on the promo, but there was something missing. And with that match against Finn Balor and the recent development in his character, I think they're starting to get behind Damian Priest and say, look, there definitely is something there. Whatever was missing, he's starting to find it. He is an unpolished gem at the moment. There is still work to do, as I mentioned about the promos and some of the nuances of the character. I do think need improvement, as I mentioned. I do think that whole cocky, it's all about the party thing doesn't scream babyface to me. It just doesn't. And I know maybe it will to some people, man, that guy's cool. But I think Damian Priest, I look at him the same way that I look at Roman Reigns, to be honest, in that you see him in interviews and you see the way he looks, your immediate reaction is, man, that's a cool guy. That guy is cool and he is likable. To me, I look at it the same way that I look at Roman Reigns as, why do you need to change anything? Why does he need a gimmick? And they're seeing it now, they're reaping the rewards of it on SmackDown with Roman Reigns, in that Roman Reigns, when you don't change him, when you say just be Joe, just be yourself, we won't script your promos, we'll let you talk how you talk, this isn't a right to talk, and this is Roman Reigns talking. And look at the money, look at the success it's had so far, and look at the rave reviews it's getting on social media and the WWE Universe, and everyone's loving it. I think it's very similar with Damian Priest. I think it's very similar with Damian Priest in that if you said to him, just be yourself, don't change, don't have any writer's script what you should and shouldn't be saying, don't have what your character should be saying, just be you. Because Damian Priest comes across as a very cool, very likable guy. So that's why I say that I think he'll be money on the main roster, because I hope they'll take that approach of him. And I think they'll do the same approach of him in NXT eventually. So I do think there's a lot of potential there. I really do. As far as a match prediction for tonight, look, I think the match is going to be very good. It's a 5-match takeover. Traditionally, when these takeovers have hardly any matches on, when it's 4 or 5 matches, that means every match is going like 20, 30 minutes or something like that. Every match will be very good. Johnny Gargano, it's a badge of honor, isn't it, at this point, about how good his takeover matches are. So I have no doubts that tonight his performance against Damian Priest will be fantastic. He'll leave it all on the line. We've got fans in the arena tonight as well as the Capitol Wrestling Center making its debut. So everyone's going to want to steal the show because there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on the product. And Johnny Gargano always does his best to steal the show. And arguably Damian Priest, that NXT TakeOver in your house, nearly stole the show if it wasn't for that women's main event, in my opinion. So I'm interested in this one. If I had to put a prediction, put my neck out on the line, I just can't see Damian Priest losing so early into his championship reign. So I would say that Damian Priest will retain the NXT North American Championship here. However, what I will say, and this kind of does give away my prediction for the Candice LeRae Io Shirai match that I'm going to also do a match preview on here on the channel, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. It'll go either two ways. I think Damian Priest will retain tonight, but I could see in a scenario where Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae both win. They've been very prominent on recent episodes of NXT. It's all about bringing gold back to the Gargano household. I can see NXT going all in on this gimmick, and I'm not huge on it. I do think there's potential there. I do think some of the comedy segments that they've done with the whole Gargano household have been a bit of a miss, but there is something there. So I could see NXT doubling down on it. It wouldn't shock me at all. But I think this match should be all about continuing to build up Damian Priest. There's something there. There's money there. So I would say that I think Damian Priest will leave as the NXT North American Champion. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts? What are your predictions for the NXT North American Championship match tonight? Are you going to go with Damian Priest or are you going to go with Johnny Gargano? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll be sure to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting and chatting with you guys on this channel. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button as well. It really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. So please click that like button. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestling News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now. Or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video, along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.